Don't we all long for a piece of yesteryear? A time when time felt different? A place like Grandma's place, when things were hopping, swinging, mod, groovy, far out, or totally rad? Those were memorable times, and sometimes you want something to help you remember them. What vintage is your vintage? Because if you have the bug to browse, chances are you know what you're hoping to find. And then those other goodies in between, the pieces of someone else's past, well, those are the treasures of your present. From bell-bottoms to baubles, Bakelite to barware, bright boxes to babushkas to baby dolls, the barrage of secondhand gems in Greater Palm Springs is bound to be the blast from your past that you were looking for. The variety of vintage stores in the Coachella Valley is beyond compare. It's a treasure trove of old-timey meets timeless, and everything on either side of the timeline. If you find yourself out this way and mid-century is your tune, head to Modern Way all the way, one of the very first vintage furniture stores to open with a nod to mod. It has been here since the 90s and will take you straight back a decade or 5. At home, spelled H-O-M, you will most certainly also find a piece of your past. No joke, this is the exact fabric from the couch of my childhood. Owner Scott Nelson is always in search of authentically perfect pieces to pack his sprawling showroom. Every knick-knack displayed with precision. Expect to find some of the most sought-after pieces here, and upstairs, perhaps a little something old for your turntable too. Window shop no more. You 1,000,000% have to step inside the fine art of design to appreciate this dream-come-true vintage boutique. It's pristine, it's precious, and its color-organized rows of gorgeous gowns are perfection. The store, no doubt the muse of Nicholas Delgado, a graduate of Parsons School of Design in New York City. The desert native makes a point to personally hand-select and inspect every item that graces the racks. What he loves most? Meeting his consigners who bring in their past pieces along with the many stories of how and when they were worn. Whether you want 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s, at the Frippery in Palm Springs, they will cover you in all the eras. The clothing dates determine where the clothing hangs, from hang tight to hang 10 to hanging out poolside. Caftans are their captains, the top of the heap, their #1 bestsellers. Essentially, this boutique has all the vintage you need to dress the part of Palm Springs. At the shops at 1345, you barely realize you're shopping vintage. The individual unique storefronts have one thing in common: a winning combination of gorgeous products and meticulous product placement. The maze of amazing boutiques contains artifacts from clothing to handbags to furnishings and art, many of which are repurposed and ready to live a second life. Antique Galleries is sure to be the spot that hits about every spot. The 12,000 square foot collective has just about everything under the sun and the moon. It's a gold mine for fancy stuff and cool things you never knew you needed until you realize you can't live without them. And finally, the Place de Resistance, the spot where so many vintage collectors come together to resell their once cherished keepsakes. Say hello to the Vintage Market, a once-monthly gathering in a Palm Springs parking lot where one can stroll the seemingly endless aisles and spot some of the most spectacular have-to-haves. Whether you're in the market for vintage, big or small, who, you ask, has it all? Greater Palm Springs, of course. It is the one-stop shop for all the winning things, from A to colored glass, cat not included, and everything in between. Word to the wise, make sure to snap up those items you love. The reason why is black and white. You don't want to miss out on your piece of history.
Thank you so much for watching Wanderlust. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see where we wander next.